In this pencast, we're going to be learning how to use polynomials to solve word problems. So the problem says, two sisters are mowing a rectangular lawn with the dimensions 100 feet by 40 feet. One sister starts by mowing a wide strip around the outside, and the other finishes by mowing the small rectangle that is left. How wide should the first sister's strip be if they are to share the work equally? Alright, so the first thing we always want to do with word problems is draw a picture. So let's draw a picture of what we've got here. So this is the lawn. So what we have basically is one sister mowing a strip around the outside, like this. And then the other sister mowing the rectangle in the middle. So let's call the outside strip area A and the inside B. So this shaded portion is going to be B. Alright, so basically what we want to do is find a formula for the area of A and the area of B. So we know that the dimensions are 100 by 40. So let's start with the area of area B. So to find that, we're going to assume that the width of this strip is x. Which is what we're trying to find. So the new length of area B is going to be 100 minus 2x because we're subtracting an x from each side. So we'll have 100 minus 2x, and then the height of that new rectangle is going to be 40 minus 2x because we have to subtract the width of the strip on either side again. So 40 minus 2x. Alright, so for area A now, we can basically say that area A is the whole yard minus area B. So the dimensions of the whole yard are 100 times 40. And then we're going to subtract from that area B. Okay, so if the two sisters are to share the work equally, that means that area A needs to be equal to area B. Okay. So area A is 100 times 40 minus area B, and that has to be equal to area B. So if we go ahead and simplify, we're going to add area B to both sides. And what we end up with is 100 times 40, which equals 2 area B. Okay, so now what we want to do is go ahead and plug in our formula for area B. So we have 100 times 40, which we know is 4,000. So we can go ahead and put that in here. And then we're going to have 2 times 100 minus 2x times 40 minus 2x. Alright, so at this point what we're going to want to do is go ahead and use FOIL to simplify this expression. So 4,000 equals 2 times, alright, so we do the first terms, which is 100 times 40, so that's 4,000. Outside terms, which is going to be minus 200x. Inside terms, which is going to be minus 80x. And then the last terms, which is going to be plus 4x squared. Now we need to use the distributive property to distribute this 2 into all of these terms to the right. So we end up with 4,000 equals 8,000 minus 400x minus 160x plus 8x squared. So that we know in order to solve a quadratic equation, we need to get it in standard form. And standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we need to set this equal to 0. So in order to set it equal to 0, we're going to subtract 4,000 from both sides. And we're going to end up with 0 equals 4,000 minus 560x plus 8x squared. Alright, so let's go ahead and rearrange into standard form. So 0 equals 8x squared minus 560x plus 4,000, because standard form is in order of decreasing exponent. Alright, so now we can either factor this or use the quadratic formula. So the first thing we see is that we can factor an 8 out of all of these terms on the right. So let's go ahead and do that. We end up with x squared minus 70x plus 500. Alright, so now we have to take this inside expression and factor that further. We actually can't factor that though, so we're going to need to use the quadratic formula. So quadratic formula says negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And that's going to give us x. Alright, so what we need to do now is go ahead and plug in our numbers. So for our situation, a is going to be equal to 1, b is going to be equal to negative 70, and c is going to be equal to 500. So when we plug those in, we're going to have to go up here because we ran out of space. So when we plug these in, we're going to have positive 70 plus or minus the square root of 70 squared minus 4 times 1 times 500 all over 2 times 1. Go ahead and simplify that, and we get 70 plus or minus the square root of 2,900 all over 2. So now we need to simplify the square root of 2,900. So the square root of 2,900 is equal to the square root of 100 times the square root of 29. So we can break that up. We know that the square root of 100 is 10. So that's going to be 10 square root of 29. Alright, so let's plug that back in and continue simplifying. So far we have now 70 plus or minus 10 square root of 29 all over 2. Alright, so we can divide everything on the top by 2, and we end up with 35 plus or minus 5 square root of 29. Alright, so right now it appears that we have two solutions, but we can see that 35 plus 5 square root of 29 is actually greater than 40, which is the width of our entire yard. So it's not possible that the width of x is actually bigger than either of those dimensions. So that's not a solution. So that means that our only solution is 35 minus 5 times the square root of 29, which is actually equal to about 8.074 feet. So that's our answer.